Hello everyone, today we are reviewing for your chi-square quiz, which is next class. So for your warm-up, I want you to go to this tiny URL and do this multiple choice assignment. This will prepare you for some of the multiple choice aspects, and then I'm going to go over a couple of FRQs and a couple of different options for your review for you today that you can choose between. Depending on how you do on the multiple choice, I might make that choice for you or ask someone to help me make that choice for you. One thing I want to tell you about your quiz is that it is in sapling. You'll have some fill in the 4-step process problems to do and then some generic problems to do as well. So this review today should help with all types of questions. So pause here to complete the warm-up, then you can unpause to see what to do next. All right, like I said, you got a couple options. So I am going to, on this video, do 2 FRQs that are totally different than any problems that you'll see somewhere else. Well, they're the same style, but I'm not doing problems from your review. I'm doing 2 new ones. And then you can use what we do together to help you with the chi-square test review that's linked in Canvas. Then you can also, if you don't need help on it, you can just do the review yourself without watching this video and check the answer key. And then you can also do your personal progress checks. That's really great help with multiple choice, which is what your test has some questions multiple choice on it. And then you can also make your own study guide. We have a little option in Canvas to show you how you can create one, and I'll show you at the end of this video as well. So if you're choosing option A, then we're going to go ahead and do these 2 FRQs together. And if you're choosing option B, then you can go ahead and stop this video and go to Canvas for the materials. Okay, so everyone that's watching this video, thank you. And here is a problem we're going to do together. So one of the things that you need to make sure that you know how to do is determine which type of test it's going to be. So the first thing I want to do is label this as a 2-way table. What that tells me is that it's not a goodness of fit test. And so as a 2-way table, it could be a homogeneity or independence. And so what we want to look at next is how many samples are there. So when I look here, it says simple random samples, plural. The one with plural samples is going to be a chi-square test of homogeneity. Now, the way that works, how I know that, well, I just like to think of the word homogeneity as, are the distributions the same across the groups, or are the groups distributed the same way? And so it comes from 2 or more populations or samples. And so for my HO, I say there is no difference in the distribution of, and then you can kind of look at the question. They say, is there a difference in the brand preference? So I'll say distribution of brand preferences. Of the professional and support staffs. And then for our HA, we say there is a difference. You can just copy exactly what you wrote for the HO and put a difference instead of no difference, or you can paraphrase a little like I did there. And so we have 2 samples. I'm going to separate them, separate random samples of the professional staff and the support staff. So I'm going to write professional, and then I'm going to write support for my samples so that I'm keeping them separate. And then I'll check the conditions for each group. So first I have random, and they said random samples, so I'm just going to Copy that. %. All right. Well, there's 22 professional, so I think that there should be at least 220. And so I'll just check that 10% condition and assume it's true. And then the other one had 73 people, so that should be 10% of all of the support staff at this company. Should be at least 730 support staff. So that sounds reasonable to me. And number 3 are large counts. And so here's what I do. I write all expected counts at least 5 for each group here. And then, oh wow, I don't have any room. I'm gonna have to go to a new page. Sorry about that. And then I like to make a table for my expected counts. You have to do this part. And so I just copy this. We have professional, support, we have Coke and Pepsi. And I will fill this in once I do the test in my calculator. So I just leave it there empty so that I know not to forget to fill it in, and then I'll come back and fill it in next. So let's get our calculator out and do that work for us. We're going to do the matrix. So second matrix, edit. This one is a 2 by 2. And so I just fill in 14, 30, 8, 43. Check it one more time, 14, 30, 8, 43, not the totals. Go to stat, tests, chi-squared test. Hit enter. Leave everything in there as it is. Hit calculate. And I get 3.454.0631. DF equals 1. So what I'm going to do is just write all that down. I don't have a room, so I'm going to need a new sheet. Hold on. Okay, so I write chi-squared equals 3.434. My p-value is, what is it? 0.0631. And my DF equals 1. There are a couple things I like to do. So we need to show our work. So our chi-squared is the observed minus the expected squared over expected. I have to show the first, second, and last. I like to draw a picture here and, shade in the appropriate spot. And that's about it. So I do need to go back and get those expected. I'll fill them into this. So with my calculator, I'm going to go to second matrix. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go down to that one, and those are my expected. So I'm just going to fill them in on my paper. 1 decimal is good. Okay, so like I said, on your work, I like you to show your first, second, and last. And so in this case, I need to look at my calculator to do it. So I'm going to pull that up. We have 14 minus 10.8 squared over 10.8 plus, I'll do the next one, 30 minus 33.8 over 33.8, and then we don't have to do all of them. Do the last one now, which will be 43 minus 39.2. Squared over 39.2, and that equals the 3.434 that we got. Okay, so last thing, because our p-value of 0.0631 is greater than alpha equals 0.05. We fail to reject the null. And then I say there is not enough evidence to conclude that the brand preferences differ among professional and support staff. All right, so I ran out of room, but that goes together. So remember, we're doing P, A, S, S. And then I did forget to put the alpha, so I always remember that after I've used it at the end, and you can go back and add it yourself anytime. But that's why I make you write it alpha equals 0.05, because you wouldn't lose points. So, all right, now we're going to do the next one. If this had been a chi-square test of independence, the only thing different about it would have been our HOHA. All the math is the same. So just FYI. Okay, this one. Now look here. This is a one-way table. There's not more than one variable. We have one sample, and then we have a distribution of proportions proposed. So this is our null, and then this is our one sample of observed values. And so I'm not even going to read all of that. This is a chi-squared GOF test. So for our HO, we list out those proportions. So I'll just do P of W equals 0.3, P of SP for spring equals 0.22, P of SU for summer is 0.24, and then P of F is 0.24. And then for our HA, remember we write at least 1 or 2 if you want to write 2. P sub I is different. And we define our P sub I as the true proportion of, and I guess I should read this now, birth season distributions. Okay, let's see. So the true proportion of people with allergies born in each season. All right, so let's do the assumptions. So there's only one sample. I can just start by writing random. I don't need to separate into 2 groups. We have 500 randomly selected people with allergies. Number 2, 10%. 500 should be less than 10% of all allergy sufferers. And number 3, large counts. We have all expected counts are at least 5, and then we want to label our expected counts right here. And so we have a lot of ways to do it, but I'll just write fall, no, winter, spring, summer, fall. Now I'm singing that song, winter, spring, summer, and fall. Okay, so let's just do the math for each of these really quickly. We have how many people? 500. So we're going to multiply 500 by each of the proportions. Here we have to do the expected ourselves. 500 times 0.22, I think that's 110. going to be 120. All right, so those are our expected. Let's write down the alpha so I don't forget. And then we will do our chi-squared. So on this one, we can go ahead and start doing it because we have everything written down. We don't need to wait to do it. So we have 117 minus 150 squared over 150 plus the second one, 105 minus 110 squared over 110. And then I can skip the third one or do it if you want to do it, but I just don't like to do extra stuff. 133 minus 120 squared over 120. So that's just me getting my work set up. I'm going to do everything in the calculator though. So get your calculator out. This is a goodness of fit test. That is all in the lists. So second enter, we can clear this out. You can hit second plus 4 to clear them all if you want. Okay, and so I put my observed in there, 117, 105, 145, 133. My expected, 110, no, that's not right. 150, 110, 120, 120. And I don't need to use L3 anymore because I showed you how to use the GOF test, but you can if you want to. I go to stat, tests, GOF test, and then I have L1, L2. I do have to enter my own DF, and so it's categories minus 1. There's 4 seasons, so 3, and calculate. And so on my paper, I'm going to write down DF equals, I'm going to draw the picture and label DF equal to 3. I'm going to write this chi-squared value equals 14.104. And I'm going to write this p-value of 0.0028. And so it's going to be down here. And, oops, 0.1. Okay. So let me show you guys all that. I wrote down the chi-squared, the p-value, drew a picture, and put the DF on my picture. And then I don't have room, but because our p-value is less than alpha, we reject the null, and there is evidence of the alternative in context. So I don't have room to write it, plus we've done that a million times. Hopefully you guys can finish that part on your own. Now those two were not on the study guide, but the study guide has 4 questions. And so now that you've done it, the 2 with me, then you can go to that study guide and just kind of help yourself work through those. Check the answer key in Canvas to see how you're doing. And then another option that we talked about was to create your own study guide too, to just kind of like explain everything about chi-squared again one more time. The thing that's tricky is that we have the 3 types and how to know when to do which one, how to write the HO and HA for them, the assumptions. The statistical work is the same for all of them, but maybe we use a matrix, maybe not. The sentence is the same for all of them. And then our expected counts formulas are a little different. And so I want you to use your notes to fill this in. This is a blank thing that I include in Canvas that you can use your notes to fill in and keep it all together. It's optional, just to help you if you need it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. Your quiz next class, like I said, is on only chi-squared, and so it's in sapling, and it's going to be similar to your homework plus some of the 4-step fill-ins and some generic chi-squared information stuff. So good luck. Now, if you need any help, go to tutoring and study your best. Thank you so much. See you next time.